Today we're going to talk about storage. It comes in all different types, everybody's got their own way of doing it, but increasingly I found myself falling into one particular way of storing miniatures, and as you can probably tell from the table in front of you here, that way is using the quite popular, really useful storage boxes. Now, those come in a variety of sizes, and as you can see, I've got some of them out here. So we've got some of the shallower, I think they're 9-litre boxes, and then the slightly deeper, I think they're 14-litre boxes. I will clarify that. And the great advantage of these is that they don't break down as easily as cardboard or other forms of storage, and they also stack in quite a nice, neat, modular way, as you can see here. As long as you get the right sized lids, one box neatly fits on top of another one. Now, just to prove that I'm not somehow in the employ of really useful boxes, I've also got another option here, which is in the form of this KR multi-case. Now, there are other companies that do something similar, but I'll just run through this. In this case, it's quite a modular design system that you can order from them. They have different depths of box, and then within that you can have different layers and depths of tray, and it's really quite customizable. So, for example, you have the pull-out foam sections, you can change the size of the sections, and there's all sorts in there. So, for example, I've got some tank turrets in the bottom of that one, and then underneath I've got some of the cutouts for actual tanks, and then the various infantry layers. So I do have a selection of these boxes, although I am increasingly using the alternative. So I tend to use the KR multi-cases for lots of lightweight little plastic miniatures for which don't take up much space. So at the moment that comprises mostly of my bolt action figures and associated vehicles. However, for my more recent collections, particularly the things I'm investing a bit more time in, I've got really useful boxes. Now, there are slightly different types of insert in all these different boxes, and there are different companies that have come up with different ones. So the first version that I tried was this, which is for my Custodes miniatures. And as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. It's simply a magnetic sheet that I've stuck on the inside, and then each of these miniatures has had a neodymium magnet superglued underneath, and then that holds them pretty neatly in place. What I will say in common with the magnetic strips used and the magnets used in all of these boxes is that it works much better for plastic miniatures, obviously, because they're much more lightweight. So if I were to give this a little move around now, as you can see in transportation, they're not really going to go anywhere. And the magnets are strong enough that you can even put them sideways on the box. The little white discoloration is simply from the superglue, unfortunately. And the other thing I found over time is, if you could see from one end, well, you can't actually, that the magnets very slightly start to cause the magnetic strips to lose their adherence to the plastic box. However, it hasn't come away completely, and it remains stable, and as you can see, I can move the box around. So then I progressed on from that version, those figures, to the following, which is Mdf Inserts, which are made by a variety of different companies. So the first version I'll show you here on top. So this is my 28mm American War of Independence collection, or the British in this case. So this is a 2mm Mdf box insert from Charlie Foxtrot Models, and in it, you will see here, there are a series of holes that have been drilled in to accept a 4x2mm magnet, which I then bought separately, which you can get relatively cheaply from different places. I got mine from eBay, and then those just pop into the holes. They actually fit so snugly, they're probably not coming out anyway, but I have put a little bit of super glue in there just to make sure they stay in. And then underneath each of the miniatures, as you may have seen in some of the videos already, I've put a magnetic base bottom. These are from Litco, and then they simply pop into the inserts. As I said about the other box, this works best for the plastic miniatures. I suspect if I gave this a pretty good knock, the metal figures would probably still come loose. However, the little lip round the insert and the magnet serves that shaking them and moving them around doesn't really do very much to them. And I apologise if that made you feel a bit seasick as I did that. So that's one version, which is for those 25mm figures. Then this version now this is a very shallow tray insert, which you can see has got some 6mm tanks in it. They're very shallow trays, so I can get more than one in the box, which maximises on the use of the storage. And that is, again, a magnetic sheet. And underneath, I've actually, in this case, cut to fit complementary magnetic sheets under the base. And these are so lightweight that it holds them really neatly and snugly in place. And as I say, means you can get the maximum quantity of miniatures inside the box. That's another version of the 25mm round base box. And then finally, at the back here, these are the taller boxes. Now, I've bought these inserts from Sally Forth. They come in a variety of different sizes, as you can see here on the side of the box. These are the deepest ones. I think these are 110mm, and these are 70mm at the top. I did have to measure it carefully to see how much clearance I needed to fit the flags inside the boxes. It's been well measured and well put together. They don't take very long to assemble. I've used a bit of PVA glue and super glue just to put them together. And as you can see, although this top level isn't fully magnetised, they just lift out as convenient trays. And there's no worry about dropping them in either. Were I to lift this up, because it's fitted fairly well to the sides, it just slides slowly down onto the other one if you were to drop it and won't impact heavily. There's plenty of room there, and also I've opted for cut-out sides so you can see the contents. So if I were to put this tray back in, notwithstanding that it's not magnetised, or those bases aren't magnetised, it just fits in snugly. And I just made sure to measure how many would fit to get the maximum use out of the box. And that's it, there you go. So that's some different types of really useful box and some different types of MDF inserts that fit into them. Or in the case of this one, no MDF inserts. And just shows you they're quite versatile really in how you want to go about it, what kind of materials you wish to use to secure the miniatures inside, depending on your level of involvement, how much time you want to put into that, or perhaps level of cost. If you want to stick your fingers together trying to put together the MDF box inserts, they can be a little bit fiddly, and you will need to have a bit of patience between steps to rubber band them together, but I highly recommend them as it maximises the storage and helps protect the miniatures. In the case of the 6mm trays, it means you get the absolute most out of the volume of the box. You may have other methods. Let me know in the comments below what you've chosen to use for your miniatures, or if you've used really useful boxes yourself. I know they're quite popular. Or if you prefer this kind of storage, whether or not it's in a cardboard box or a more rigid box. Now you can get plastic and steel versions, and using foam inserts, because they are very good and they can fit quite a lot of miniatures inside them. But my personal preference is I've moved away towards using plastic really useful boxes. Anyway, that's just a quick insight into my storage solutions to make sure I can fit all my hobby away. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.